This coaster is ranked as number 102 worldwide on Captain Coaster, and many enthusiasts have this Intamin Mega Coaster high up their personal list. So I'm just going to say it. Goliath at Walibi Holland is overrated.
Torches! Get your torches! Pitchforks! Can't be an angry mob without pitchforks!
Whoa, easy on the pitchforks. I don't think Goliath is a bad ride, but the praise it gets, I'm not convinced. Before we get into the highs and lows of this Dutch giant, let's take a look at what Goliath brings to the table. Goliath opened up in 2002, when Walibi was known as Six Flags Holland. It was part of the aggressive investment spree that eventually led to the bankruptcy of Six Flags, and this was the third coaster to open at Walibi Holland in the span of 3 years. But what a coaster it was! This monster is standing at 46.8 meters high, or 153 feet, and with that held the record for tallest coaster of the Benelux until 2020, when Conda overtook it. This record had a gap of 1 year, because Walibi Belgium had the problematic mountain glider Vertigo, which operated for just a few days in 2007 and 2008. But that's a subject for another video. Goliath also held the record for the fastest coaster of the Benelux, reaching a top speed of 106 km per hour, or 65.8 miles per hour. The record was lost in 2019 when Fury opened up in Bobbejaanland, going just slightly faster with 106.6 km per hour, or 66.2 miles per hour. The last record Goliath took within the Benelux was for the length of the ride, sitting at 1214 meters, or about 4000 feet of track. Goliath holds this record to this day, and I am wondering whether our park will be breaking this record in the near future. I could see the Efteling or Toverland do it with their new prospective expansions. As for the layout, and I'm intentionally leaving out any of the forces here, because we will get to that later. Goliath is brought to the top of the lift hill using a cable lift, so it is going decently fast. You then have the first and biggest drop, followed by a big camelback. After the camelback, you'll take a slight right hand turn and race up into the Stengel dive. This is basically a bank turn that is angled at 121 degrees. Once this takes you back to the ground, you will enter a left hand helix, after which you will rise up into a twist hill before you are thrown back into a helix turning to the right. This will bring you towards the finale of Goliath, a sequence of 3 bunny hills. And with speed to spare, you will take a slight left hand turn before making a right hand turnaround and slamming into the brakes. Now that you know what Goliath is, we will go over the pros and cons. And let's start with the positive. For starters, when you're sitting towards the back of the train, you get some floater airtime going down the first drop. The speed Goliath gets is excellent, and it maintains this well throughout the course, right until you slam into the brakes. Because of this speed, the first camelback will launch you out of your seat. This is a moment of bliss, but it's not perfect, and I will get back to that shortly. Then, the final 3 bunny hills are absolutely killer. You take them at high speed, and each of these hills tries to eject you from your seat. To me, this is the absolute highlight of Goliath. And this section already shows a gap. Before I go into my gripes with the ride, I am willing to give Goliath a shot. So if you enjoy Goliath and feel like I'm missing something, comment with where I should sit and what conditions. I will try it, I promise. I want to like this coaster as much as you do. And now for the negatives. Let's start with the first camelback, because as I said, the ejector is excellent, but where this gets praised as high as the camelback goes itself, to me, this airtime was not sustained. It is a quick pop of ejector and you're back in your seat. A good camelback is more like how I experienced it at Colossus in Heide Park. I got ejected and next moment I was back in my seat was on the bottom of the camelback. But in all fairness, I seem to be an outlier with that experience as well, so my expectations may be skewed. Then we have the Stengel dive. When I was younger, it did give me a bit of a scare, because it was close to an inversion, and I never inverted at the time. But after rewriting Goliath in the recent years, this element just doesn't really do anything. I guess it looks cool, but I would have absolutely preferred for it to be a normal camelback. Then the next section is the dead spot of Goliath. You will go into a helix that will give you decent positive forces, but it just doesn't do anything. Goliath then rises into a twisted airtime hill, but this hill hasn't given me any airtime in my recent rides, and I'm not sure if it ever did honestly. So you have a dead hill that will bring you into another helix that feels lackluster. This section takes up half of the ride, if not more. I just can't ignore that. even if the 3 bunny hills after that are absolutely excellent. I have nothing negative to say about those. They actually are that good. Honestly, those bunny hills alone make it worth it to queue up for a Goliath. And lastly, the smoothness. In my most recent rides, I just can't say the coaster is smooth anymore. There is a rattle, and I mostly noticed that during the dead spot of the ride. I guess because there isn't much going on there. Fans of Goliath always mention how smooth the ride is, so when I got on, it took me by surprise how much of a rattle I felt. This makes sense given the age of the ride, but my expectations were set high, and as such, the disappointment was high as well. It actually gave me a slight headache, especially the part where you pull out of the first helix. In a way, it feels like blasphemy to criticize this much beloved Dutch coaster, but I feel like people may be looking at it with rose-tinted glasses. I do feel like I'm in the minority here, but I did feel compelled to speak up. You know what? Let's do a little experiment here. If you agree with my points about Goliath, press the like button. If you disagree and think I'm over-exaggerating the negatives, press the dislike button. I am honestly curious what the ratio will look like in a few weeks. And again, I don't think Goliath is a bad coaster. I just don't think it's a top 100 coaster. So where would all of this put Goliath on my rankings for Walibi Holland? For that, you'll have to subscribe and wait until next week, where I will rank up all 10 coasters at Walibi Holland. I will link the video right here once it comes out. But until then, enjoy what YouTube is recommending to you.